I am here today with Greg Tanaka, which was introduced to me by a mutual friend, Rob Lau. And I'm happy to get to meet you because I don't think you participate in his networking events.
Actually, I did a long time ago. I attended when they were all in person. This was like 10 years ago, long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, he had some networking, and I don't think I met you there.
No. I
So you
didn't attend
were
those.
probably very busy with other things during the pandemic. The show is What's Your Idea? And I looked at your profile. It seems that your main focus is a company called Percolata.
Hmm.
So that was your idea, your
Hmm.
startup. It's no
Yep.
longer a startup now, right? It's up and running, right?
It's been running for a bit. Yeah.
So it has been an actual idea that came true, that came to
Yeah.
take
That's right.
form.
Yep.
And in which way? I know that during the pandemic there was a lot of online shopping.
Oh
So
yeah.
your idea, Percolata, probably came in handy during that time, no?
Well, actually, the idea was probably more useful before the pandemic. So what our company does is we count traffic coming into stores, and then we use that count to forecast how many employees the customer needs at their store. So we focus on retailers.
Oh,
During
retail.
the Yeah,
Okay.
physical retailers.
Like
So
Macy's or something like that?
more more like specialty retail. So Macy's is like an anchor in a mall. We focus more on the guys in between anchors, specialty retailers,
Okay, so like a smaller moment,
smaller stores. Yeah, so
small
more
store.
more more like chain stores.
Nikes,
As like a Nike, yeah, as an example. Although Nike is almost like we're more less destination type stores and more
Chanel.
discretionary type of, like Chanel, yeah.
But I don't think they vary too much the number of employees they have on the floor very much. I mean, they have
It depends.
couple.
It depends on the retailer, right? Some of them do, and some of them don't. But if you look at it for a retailer, one of the largest expenses actually is their employees. So there's real estate, you have cost of goods, and then you have the employees. Those are the three big costs. Real estate you really can't do much about. Um, the cost of goods you really can't do much about, and employees is like the big knob for the retailer. The retailer is able to control that.
Yeah, I noticed just when you talk about retailer, during the pandemic, all the stores were closed, but there was still a
Yes.
line for Louis Vuitton. And I say, what's going on? This is the only store that has a line because
Yeah.
that's a store that never, it's just nonstop traffic.
Yeah. Well, I think the people, probably the wealthy people were not affected by the pandemic, right? And so they still wanted their handbags. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I think most retailers, there's a forecast something like 60% of retailers, retail stores are never going to open again. 60%, 60. So that's a really
That's
high
a lot.
percentage.
That's a
That's a
lot.
lot. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how
So
many of them actually.
there goes 60% of your business. No?
Well, actually, during the pandemic, a lot of retailers shut down completely, right? So there's a period of time in April where all the retail stores were shut, like literally just shut, right? They,
They had to.
they had to shut down. Yeah.
No, but now that some have decided not to reopen, does that cut down your number of business you can contact?
For that market, yes, absolutely.
Okay, but it opened up the online business for you, no?
Well, we actually pivoted a bit and we use now some of our forecasting algorithms for algorithmic trading. So a lot of people, when they're at home, they started doing a lot more,
Shopping.
uh, well, not shopping, but a lot more trading of stocks online, like using Robinhood and stuff. And
Oh,
so,
yes, that's true.
yeah, and so then a lot of people wanted to automate that. So a lot of people would do algorithmic trading. So we kind of pivot our business a bit into that area.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Is it easy to learn?
Well, what happens is a lot of people would do trading online, and they realize that it's actually pretty hard to make money doing this. People go on Robinhood and think, oh, it's great, just it's like the casino. And sometimes you'll make money, but a lot of times people just lose money. But there are certain people who actually get pretty good at it, and they're able to consistently make money.
For day
But
traders.
it's kind of like day traders, yeah. But the problem though is that um, actually most of the market is actually algorithmic traded these days. So like 80% of the trades you see on the stock exchange are algorithmic trading. And the
They're
challenge is that
automatic trades.
automatic trades, like most of the trades on the market today are automatic trades.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the little guy like me is the one who suffers
Well, as
because we don't know
individuals,
what's
it's
going
actually
on with the brain of the machine.
yeah. As individuals, it's pretty hard to beat the market as an individual. That's why most people recommend just doing index fund, right, or a mutual fund, because
Mhm.
it's hard to actively trade. But there are certain people who like spend all their time doing this, and they get pretty good at it. But the problem is that it's hard to make a lot of money doing day trade. I mean, there are some people that do, but most of the trades you make a little bit of money. And so the analogy is, imagine there's a penny on the ground, right? A single penny, and picking up a penny off the ground maybe not worth your time. So you may just keep walking, right?
Right.
Um, there was a time when you were doing day trading, you could pick $100 bills off the ground, where it made total sense to do it, right? But it makes less and less sense now. And so what's driving a lot of the algorithmic trading is that there's a lot of these pennies on the ground, and if you could pick up these pennies automatically, suddenly this all makes sense, right? Because
Yeah, yeah. All these people losing money to your advantage. So it's like legal robbery kind of thing.
oh, it's not really, it's more like efficient capital allocation. That's the way you think about it.
No, but when somebody loses, somebody wins. So when
Yeah,
a lot of
they
people
call
lose,
it a zero sum game. Yes, it's like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So when a lot of people are losing and you are gaining, it's like, okay, I am smart enough to to take advantage of their ignorance, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But to be able to do that, you gotta buy the software.
We actually so our company Pika.group, Pika.group, so it's a subsidiary of Percolata. What we do is we will first, on a consulting basis, take whatever the day trading strategy that the person has, code it up, and then so we just do that for just as a pure work for hire, and then we usually host it. So we'll host it on our server, and then we charge a monthly fee or some sort of success fee based off of that. So that's how we operate.
Okay, so maybe you got yourself a customer. So I don't have them. I didn't put that much. I took my money, most of half of my money out of Robinhood for that reason, because when the market went down, all of a sudden all my gains evaporated. So,
But
so
but
I
but the market's
decided,
come back though. The market
yeah,
came back.
it is
Yeah.
came back. Yeah, so now I'm thinking of putting back some money into it. So if I give
Mm,
you my account with the
mm,
Robinhood,
mm.
you will store it in your server somewhere.
No, we don't actually. So what we do is we do automatic trading. So we don't take over your Robinhood account or say it. You still control your Robinhood account, but let's say you have a strategy, right? Some sort of strategy that makes money, but it doesn't make a lot of money per trade. So like
No.
some of our customers have to do like 100 trades a day or 1,000 trades a day. So imagine how much work that is to do manually. We only make a little bit of money per trade, right? So in order for you to for this to be scalable, they need it automated.
Mm.
And then so doing 1,000 automated trades is actually pretty easy, but doing 1,000 manual trades is a lot of work.
Yeah. So basically, you give them the use of your software, not
Yeah.
you don't store their account.
No, we don't store the account. No, yeah, they control their account. They control when they turn it on, they turn it off. They tell
How
us what they
much is
want.
the use of your software? Maybe you get a customer.
Oh, so we charge a consulting fee. So it's basically kind of like normal software engineering rates to take a algorithm, a strategy, and code it up. and then we charge basically a markup of the cloud hosting charges. So we use Google Cloud, and so Google Cloud charges a certain amount of money for the compute resources that they have, and so we charge a multiple based off of that. So it depends on what the strategy is, but like some people have really fancy strategies that we're using, like reinforcement learning or using neural networks or something like that, which is very computationally expensive. And for those, it costs more per month. And then for others, it's just really simple strategies, and for that the cost is very, very low. So it really depends.
Okay, so if my strategy is just to check once a week, is going to be very low.
Well, if your strategy is simply like, if the stock reaches this, well, it has to be more than just if the stock reaches a certain price, because you can already do that right now on any brokerage, right? So it has to be a strategy that's a little bit more complicated than
more
simply
complicated, like a
yeah.
straddle or a covered call.
Yeah, like options, right? Is where you're doing some sort of complex option play, right? You want to do that automatically. So that's where you would use us, right? But if you could just simply do like, oh, I'm gonna, sell a covered call when it hits this price, you don't need us, right? You could just do that yourself on Robinhood or anything else like that. But if you want to do some sort of complex option, then that's where we come in, right?
Okay. No, I don't do covered call, although I understand what a covered call is, but I don't do it because I don't have like thousands of shares of any.
Well, but here's the thing also, it's like sometimes, like like with Robinhood, or there's also a service out there called Alpaca, which is kind of like the Robinhood but for API trading.
Okay.
You could trade without any commission, right? You still have to pay the bid ask spread,
Yeah.
but when you no longer have to have commission, right? You don't have to pay $20 for
I don't
commission or
pay
whatever.
commission on Robinhood.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So then trading makes a lot more, like frequent trading makes a lot more sense,
Yes, it
right?
does. Yeah. But they
Yeah.
don't allow day trading. I mean, they don't allow like rebuying every 5 minutes something.
Oh no, so that's why you got to use a service like Alpaca, right? So Alpaca allows that. So Alpaca is really all about algorithmic trading, and then you could buy and sell a lot, right? Like
Oh,
you could
Paka allows it? Okay.
Alpaca, yeah. So that's kind of like, we use Alpaca. We also support interactive brokers. The other one that's really popular is TD Ameritrade.
What's the name of the other one?
TD Ameritrade.
Oh, TD and Ameritrade have a commission.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm saying is that these are the guys that allow algorithmic trading.
Mm-hmm. So,
But Alpaca is nice because they don't charge any commission.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Like Robinhood.
It's like Robinhood, right? It's like Robinhood, but for
How
algorithmic
do they
trading.
make their money if they have so many trades?
Oh, it's the same way that Robinhood makes money. So Robinhood, they sell the order flow. So the average user on Robinhood is not very sophisticated, and so if you're taking the other side of that person, so usually the people on Robinhood, they tend to lose money. So if you're a person on the other side taking the trade, you're generally going to make money because, like you said, it's a zero sum game. So the person on Robinhood is losing money. So if you're on the other side taking the order flow of Robinhood, you're going to be making money. So Alpaca makes the same money the same way as Robinhood. They sell the order flow.
Oh, okay. They take a little cut.
Well, no. So what happens is, so on Robinhood, most users on Robinhood lose money, right? The average user on Robinhood loses money. And so Robinhood sells that order flow to like Citadel or to these large, clearinghouses. And because the average user loses money, right? The average user kind of sucks at trading on Robinhood. If you're the person on the other side making money, if you're the person taking the other side of the trade, you're going to be making money, right? Because like you said, it's a zero sum game. So Robinhood basically is a collection of relatively unsophisticated people who lose money. Okay, so if you're our Robinhood is basically selling order flow of these people who are trading to people who take the other side of the trade, and they make money because the Robinhood customers lose money.
So no, but who pays them? The person who owns the stock?
So what happens is Robinhood sells the order flow. Let's say you're using Robinhood, right?
Yeah.
Robinhood would sell your order. So a company like Citadel would pay Robinhood money for the privilege of fulfilling your trade. So it's like a reverse commission.
Oh,
right?
Okay, okay.
And
Somebody
the
else
reason
is
why,
paying the commission for them to submit it.
yeah, because the average Robinhood customer loses money, right?
Okay.
So if you're taking the other side of the trade, you're making money.
Okay.
That's why the Robinhood order flow is really useful, because the average Robinhood customer loses money.
Okay. So they send the order to whoever owns the stock.
No. So there's these market makers, right? So these market makers,
Mm-hmm.
they um, um, they like Robinhood. So market maker, basically they make the market for make the stock liquid, right? So if you want to sell stock, you could sell it because there's someone that's willing to buy it, right? And it's usually like a market maker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and so they're like a clearinghouse, right? And so what happens is Robinhood business model is zero commission. The reason why they're able to get away with zero commission is because they realized that they could sell the orders to these clearinghouses.
Oh, to the
Because
clearinghouse, and the
yes,
clearinghouse will pay them.
yes, because the clearinghouse likes Robinhood order flow, because the Robinhood order flow tends to be of people who lose money.
Okay. So the
So if you're taking the,
clearinghouse is going to give them money.
yes, the clearinghouse will give Robinhood money. That's why Robinhood makes money, is because they're selling order flow of people who tend to lose money.
Mm, I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I was before the pandemic, the founder of Robinhood was on a panel, and
Oh,
he was
he doesn't say it like this, but this is what I understand what happens. But but this is actually how they make. I understand how they make money.
yeah. No,
But
it's funny.
he doesn't position like that though.
Well, I'm happy he made it because it's just was like an idea, and then it took off.
Yeah. I mean, zero commission makes a lot of sense, and he found someone else that would pay for the commission.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah, the clearinghouses.
yours is not commission at all. It's a fee based.
Yeah, ours is just fee based. Yeah,
Yeah. But Percolata is still being used for retailers.
it is. Yeah,
Okay.
but
So,
not really a growing business at this point, because well, we'll see after June 15th when the country opens back up. We'll see if it comes back.
oh, okay. Yes, coming back Tuesday, the opening in San Francisco.
15th, the 15th. Yep, that's right.
Tuesday. So starting Tuesday, maybe your business will pick up again.
Yep, I think so. I hope so. We'll see.
Because yesterday I was at this coffee shop, the Red Bay Coffee, and they bought the space where Pete's Coffee used to be inside the Ferry building. And the traffic in that coffee shop fluctuates because
Mm,
there's rush hour, 9
mm,
a.m., people are in line. But then there's during like say 10:30 to 11:30, it's
mm,
kind of empty. Everybody's either
mm.
at work or not at lunch yet.
Yeah.
So they don't need as many employees. So the employees are just standing there
Mm,
or
yeah.
taking advantage to take a break.
Yeah.
But the flow of traffic varies depending on the time of the day.
Yeah. And that's why staffing for forecasting the staffing is really important. And that's what we didn't do for foods, but we did for retailers.
Or not for coffee shops.
No, we didn't. Not only for coffee, because coffee shop is too easy, because generally, you know, you kind of know when they're gonna be busy or not busy, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
morning is busy.
Yeah. So they don't need really a forecasting solution, because they know they it's
They
easy to
already
forecast,
know.
right? They
So
already
these
know.
employees who have, let's say, an hour to 2 hours where it's super slow, um, are they allowed to just do whatever they want during that 1 or 2 hours, or they have to be on guard and or something?
Well,
They get paid,
well,
right?
well, actually, this was a bit of an issue for some retail workers. Was they call it they want just hours, like just hours, and they want hours to work. They also
Yeah.
they want fair hours, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of, that's because we call just hours. And what retailers would do during the downtimes is they would do things like split shifts. So they'll have you work between 8 to 10, and then they'll
Mhm.
have you work from 12 to 2, right?
That's
So
unfair to
then
the worker.
unfair to the workers, yeah. Or they will, like, if let's say they weren't retailer wasn't busy, they would dismiss them to do what they call a short shift. right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
or let's say, and they wouldn't get paid for that, right? Or let's
Right.
say, or let's say, uh, uh,
Does
uh,
Percolata encourage that to do
no.
multiple
So
meetings?
we no. What we try to do is we try to forecast so that rather than putting this forecast risk on the back of the workers, just if you can forecast more accurately, you don't have to mistreat the worker as much. So
Okay.
actually having a good forecast is good because right now, for instance, if because retail is not sure how busy they're going to be, so like they would just cut people if they weren't busy, or they would do like on-call shifts, right?
Mm,
Where you're on call, but you don't
mm,
get paid for that.
mm-hmm.
So by having good forecast is much better for the worker because they don't get as mistreated because the retailer knows exactly when they're going to be busy.
Okay. Okay. So when they know exactly when they're going to be busy, then they can tell the worker to come work that day.
Yeah, and that time, right? So right now the worker has to kind of sit by their phone. So having a good forecast is good because it's not as um as uh wasteful on the employee's time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like a Uber. Once you use the Lyft or Uber, then you don't need that driver for yourself anymore. It's the same concept for retail. Once you don't need that
Yeah,
employee, you want to dispose of them.
yeah, yeah. So for the business, having these all-call workers is really good, but for the worker, they don't necessarily like it because it's hard
What are they gonna
to
do during
plan.
those empty hours?
Exactly.
So, but I don't even know if it's legal to tell people to come back and.
Well, actually, in some places like San Francisco or New York City, they have something called a worker bill of rights, where it's not legal. Or you could do it. Like if you do a short shift on someone, you have to pay them for the full day. Anyways,
Okay, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay,
So some places they have this worker bill of rights, the retail workers bill of rights, where they have these penalties. Like if you have them do on-call shifts, you have to pay them for being on call.
okay, okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you dismiss me 2 hours before the closing of the store, you're gonna pay me till the closing of the store.
Yeah,
It's true, especially when it's not Christmas and it's open till 9 p.m. and it's
yeah,
very slow traffic. You can just send them home.
yeah, exactly.
That's the idea. Okay. But you also know the laws so that you don't tell people to do what they're not supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, we just forecast. We just forecast the staffing levels, and then retailers decide how they schedule.
Oh, okay. Okay. But do you make them aware of the city laws?
No, that's up to them.
Oh, really? They might make a mistake then
No,
and
they know the retailers really know the laws. They're pretty, and a lot of the workforce management systems actually have the laws built into them.
oh, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't think they're gonna take 2 hours off the paycheck of the worker, right?
No, the most especially large retailers have this built into their workforce management system.
Okay, great, great. So is this your actual office? It's very nice and large windows and
Thank
it's
you.
your actual office?
It was actual office. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you.
So you have a very good decoration with plants and a red chair there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's very well done. Did you have a special interior
No,
decorator
no,
do it?
no.
You did it yourself. They actually, this is my favorite plant with those kind of leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
I don't even know what kind of plants those are. So,
no, because I just bought a dress for my sister with these kind of leaves that I really like
oh,
them. It's very nice.
mm,
I mean,
mm,
the pattern.
oh,
I know men don't wear these kind of dresses. I mean,
no.
they don't wear dresses, period. But anyway, so you have been running this company for like 8 years, 9 years now,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's growing.
During the pandemic, definitely not growing. Not during the
Definitely
pandemic.
not. Okay,
Definitely not.
but they should grow again.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully soon. So Tuesdays it should be. We should start seeing things coming back.
Yeah, just like the plant, you gotta put it in the light and it will
Yeah,
grow.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Hopefully it's green morning soon, right? And the light
it's
will start shining.
Yes, exactly. With the sun and the warmth,
Yeah.
everything should work out. But we still, I mean, we still have to wear a mask inside. Like if you are with multiple workers, you're still required to wear a mask. It's only outside that you're not required to wear a mask.
Well, I think on the 15th is something's going to change. So I mean, the other thing is I'm also on the Palo Alto City Council, so I'm kind of a little bit aware of some of the
Oh, okay.
um
No, in San
yeah.
Francisco, we can take off our mask when we walk. But
Mm,
if we are in a closed environment, like on the bus, we have to wear it
mm,
because 80% have been vaccinated with the first dose, but
yeah.
not the second dose yet.
Yeah. 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 You know, it's this whole pandemic thing's been kind of crazy.
Yeah. I get used to wear my mask because I found out that it protects me actually from the wind.
Mm.
And even if I didn't have to wear it, I like it on my nose because then I don't catch a cold.
Yeah. So, you know, in Asian countries, wearing a mask when you're sick is very, very common, right? It's
Oh,
standard. But in this country, until the pandemic, it was kind of unusual to do that, right? People who are
exactly.
sick,
People
they
will
don't do
cough
that.
in front of your face. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But in Asia, it's considered to be kind of rude, you know? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but it's beginning to be like that here in this country as well. So, like when people are sick, they stay home and they wear a mask. But in
Okay.
this country, you know, if you're sick, you don't wear a mask, right? At least before
Yeah.
the
You
pandemic.
get the
But
whole office sick with you.
exactly, exactly. But now I think that maybe that kind of culture is going to be here in our country as well.
I know it's they were ahead of time, especially also the Arab countries. Women wear the thing on their
Mm,
nose constantly,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
365 days a year.
yeah.
These people, I don't know if they can catch COVID. It's impossible. They
Well, you
always
know, I think in some of those countries it's very sandy and dusty, right? So I think for practical reasons, right? I think you got to kind of cover your face because it's like
it
very
covers.
dusty.
You don't ingest all that sand,
Yeah, yeah,
dust. But on the other hand, you don't catch coronavirus.
yeah. So dual purpose, right? So
Yeah, so they've
yeah,
been practicing masking for centuries already.
yeah. Well, I think they had to, right? If it was that dusty, right? You can imagine like riding around and all that dust, right? I mean, you kind of had to, right?
You
Otherwise,
had
you
to
start
ask
coughing.
you have a lung disease, yes.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of had to, right? So I think that's yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see why I think some things develop that way because of culture, because of the environment, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen
And then in
people I've seen people even in countries where there's no dust, wear the
oh
protection on their face, and that's cultural more than protection.
well in Asia, like in Japan.
Yeah,
So my ancestors are from Japan. It's a very dense country, right? Tokyo. And
yeah.
so if people didn't wear masks, you know, you would have these pandemics all the time. So they have a very strong culture. If you're sick, you wear a mask or you stay home, right? It's a
Okay,
very
okay.
because of the density of the population, they have to.
Did you ever live there a year or two?
No, no, my great grandfather came from Japan like in 1880. But I've been to Japan a lot. I've been to Japan more than a dozen times.
Okay,
But
so you know what they do?
yeah, I've been there a lot. Maybe more, maybe a couple dozen times. I've been there a lot. Yeah.
I live in
So
Japantown, and yeah, it's they do respect very much the guideline of the pandemic. I mean, you go in some other areas, people just don't.
yeah,
They
yeah, yeah,
so for some people it's annoying to have a mask, and for others it's just part of natural way of being.
yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I think in this country, post pandemic, I think wearing a mask when you're sick or not going to work when you're sick is going to become standard. I think we'll see.
Okay, yeah, we'll see because I heard that only starting Tuesday, only 24% of workers want to go back to work inside. The rest,
Yeah,
they want to keep working from home
yeah. Actually, that's actually really
to avoid the traffic and all that. So,
yeah,
so it's better to do it that way. If they want to work from home, let them.
yeah. I mean, that's you don't waste time because my wife used to go from Palo Alto to San Francisco every day, and she spends an hour and a half on the road. but now she
Yeah,
spends an hour and a half basically doing work, so
yeah,
she's more productive. And so for some occupations, working from home is way more efficient. And then for some companies, right, it's better because they also don't have to pay office rent, right?
exactly.
So yeah, so it's but you know, but for cities like for Palo Alto, right, it's been really hard because our city depended on people coming to our city to work and
Oh,
shop and dine,
oh,
and then
yeah.
all coming to our hotels. And so our revenue has really dropped off
Of course. Here
because you
too,
know,
no conventions.
yeah, no, like you don't have that. So for cities it's been really hard.
Yes.
And but for some companies it's been good, right? Because their employees are more productive and they don't have to pay office rent. So
Yeah,
it's even
yeah,
better, right?
yeah. And the first convention is going to be Dreamforce in September, September 19, which is
Yeah,
going to bring a lot of business back to San Francisco.
yeah. So San Francisco rents have been plummeting, right? Because of that.
Yes, yes, 25% at least. I mean, they don't show it on paper, but that's
Yeah,
what's happening. People don't rent as
yeah,
high anymore.
yeah. The office rent and the residential rents have been dropping.
Yeah,
Here in our city in Palo Alto too, residential rents have been dropping, I think 20% or something like that. So
yeah,
it's
same
yeah,
here.
but housing prices haven't dropped, but residential rents have dropped, but not the housing price.
Oh yeah, yeah. The house, the prices of homes are pretty much leveled. Yes, that's true. The
Yeah.
I just want to say there's a lot of major company that ended their leases,
Yes.
uh, and they paid like $28 million on one company I read just to get out of the lease
Yes. Yeah.
because they say, well, we got used to work from home and we're going to keep it that way. So they signed the
Yeah.
paper and they gave the money to the building company and they say, keep your building.
Yeah.
We want to get
I
out
mean,
of it.
yeah, that's one of the big questions. What do we do with all this real estate? So all this retail that people aren't going to be using, all this office space. What do you do with that space? What should happen to
It's
all that
empty
space?
now. It's empty.
It's
Even
empty.
the
Yeah, I know.
Salesforce Tower is going to be used only 10% for the executive to come to work. All the others, they're going to keep working from home.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do with all that space?
Yeah, it's a good question because I've been wondering about that for a long time because I go downtown every day, even during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and I see all these big skyscrapers empty.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, I think the next great business is going to be around what do you do with the space? All this empty space. What do you do with it, right?
I agree. I agree. I
Because work
agree.
from home, I have a feeling that it's going to continue, right? At least in some shape or form. And so all that empty space, what do you like? How
I know.
do
I know.
you make it
Even now that
residential?
it's opening, it's still empty. I mean, people just don't go. It's
Yeah.
funny. People
Yeah.
get used to the comfort of working in their slippers and
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So I mean, this is also, you know, um, the pandemic's actually been pretty hard for some businesses, right? Like a lot of retailers have been really hard. And then also, it's been hard for some other companies, like companies that were in the travel space, also really difficult, right? Or if you're in real estate, it's crazy bad right now, right? Because like all these empty office buildings, at least on the commercial side. So yeah, I mean, while the stock market has been going up a lot, the the some sectors of the economy haven't really recovered, and some people have been hit pretty hard. Thankfully, there's all the stimulus checks, right?
yeah, I heard
But
that the clothing industry is down 70% during pandemic.
the what?
That the hardest hit is the clothing industry, down
Yeah,
70% because people don't
that's
have
right.
to dress up to go to the office anymore.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so I think like um so like last November I had to run for re-election for Palo Alto City Council and I won. So
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
reelected.
Oh,
But
you want to be reelected?
no, I got reelected. I was reelected last November.
Oh, congratulations. So
Yeah, thank
you
you.
represent your area, Palo Alto?
Palo Alto, yeah. But shortly afterwards, a lot of my supporters asked me to run for U.S. Congress
Yeah.
because there was a lot of I mean, there are some companies that have been doing very well, like Google and Facebook, but a lot of other companies have not been doing well. A lot of businesses have been hurt, and so um, they wanted to, they thought that they needed, you know,
A representation.
yeah, exactly, because it's hard, right? Like my own company focused on retail, right? And retailers have not been doing well. So thus my company hasn't been doing well. And so there's a lot of focus on like how do we get the economy coming back? Right now we're kind of inflating things. We're just printing a lot of money, but how do we get the economy really going back in a sustainable way that really, because a lot of people right now, a lot of the workers, they actually get these stimulus checks, right? In fact, they make maybe more money working, staying at home now than they would have
Yeah,
working.
exactly.
But that's
So
not sustainable as economy, right? You have that. You want people being productive and earning money, not staying home and earning money, because that's
exactly.
just causing that's causing inflation, right? Right now, like I bought a box of cherries from Costco. My box of cherries is half the size, same price, half the size, right? Or
It's
look at the
true.
price
It's
of
very
gas.
expensive. I bought like 5 pound fruit, $15. It used to cost me maybe just 10. Fruit
Yeah,
is getting extremely expensive.
yeah. So there's a lot of inflation in the market right now, right? And so I think and so that's why a lot of my supporters have asked for me to try to run for U.S. Congress, is because um, they feel
Inflation.
that inflation, right? Inflation is very devastating, especially for people who are on the lower side of the
Yeah,
socioeconomic
they
spectrum.
cannot afford to buy expensive food anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's inflation is, I mean, just printing money is not the right way of solving the problem. I mean, it helps, I guess, in some ways, but overall, it just causes. So I was explaining to my kids what is inflation, because they didn't really know what inflation was. And I said, well, imagine there are two bananas. Our household has two bananas, right?
Yeah,
And I give you allowance of $1 each. Now, I could give you guys $3 each, but there's still only two bananas in this household, right?
yeah,
So what we need to do is not giving you more dollars isn't going to help you, isn't going to help us, right? Or reallocating that, my son, you get more bananas than my daughter, or vice versa. That's not going to solve the problem. What we need to do is get more bananas, right? So
yes,
I was
yes,
trying to
yes,
explain to my kids about what is inflation, and that's the same thing with our economy. What we need to do is not just print more money. That's not helping. That's not really solving the problem, right?
we need the
Well,
availability of food to increase.
yes, we need to increase our production. We need to increase our gross domestic product. We need to increase the productivity of people. That's how we do it, right? And
Yeah,
the solution of just printing money is not necessarily gonna. It's just causing inflation. Basically, my box of cherries is double in price. That's basically what's
yes,
happening, right?
yes, yes.
Or price of my gas is increased, right? And so we're having a record amount of inflation right now. And so I think we need a better direction. I mean, like I'm in Palo Alto, which is like the heart of Silicon Valley, and what's made our country amazing has been all these companies that used to be startups like Facebook and Google and a bunch of others. And what we need to do is encourage more entrepreneurship, right? We need. I think entrepreneurs are amazing in our country. This is something like in Japan, they don't really have. They don't have this culture of entrepreneurship. They have these really old companies like Mitsubishi and companies that have been around for
Oh, like work for
hundreds,
someone for 30 years? Yeah.
yeah, like that. But it's just also like there's not as many new companies that come up in America. If you look at the S&P 500, a large portion of the S&P 500 are from companies that never existed 10 years ago or
Oh,
20 years
okay.
ago,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
And so it's the new companies that really is really what drives our economy. And I think what we need in Silicon Valley is to encourage more entrepreneurship, more companies creating value from nothing, right? And
Right.
and and this is how we do it. By printing a bunch of money is not solving the problem, right? It's just causing a bunch of inflation, and it really hits people hard on the lower end of the social and economic spectrum, because the people who are poor tend to have um, more of
Low.
their wealth in cash.
Yeah, yeah. They have to spend a lot more. The grocery stores, like they leave the grocery store, they spend $50 and they have just one small bag of food.
Like at Costco, I used to walk out there with maybe $150 worth of food, right?
Hmm.
I don't go shopping every day, right? So we buy kind of bulk.
You like to buy
Now, yeah, so now I spend about $300, right? It's the same amount of food. I'm like, what the heck, right? How did it get to be so expensive?
Yeah, and how
You
can
know,
poor people survive that? Yeah.
yeah. So this is why like I'm running for Congress, is because I don't think we have the right representation right now.
for the different income. The people who make a lot of money, they don't even look at the price. If they
Yeah,
want a
exactly.
box of strawberries, they don't
Yeah,
even look at price, they grab it.
yeah,
If someone is on a limited budget, they're gonna see
yes,
$15 for that box of strawberry. I'll pass,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly, exactly. So people's standard of living is dropping, right? And so I think we need a lot more attention on this. I think we need to um, think about this is like basic economics, right? We need to look at how do we get the economy going by getting people to work, right? And by being able to get the economy productive, right?
Mhm.
Because if like in my example to my kids, if all we're producing is two bananas, it doesn't matter how much money each person has. All that matters is how many bananas there are, right?
And how many we can
And
share. Yeah.
yeah, and if and shifting bananas from one person to another is not necessarily solving the problem either, right? What we
Yep.
need to do is get more bananas. That's what we need to do, right?
We
And
gotta
so
produce more bananas. Yes.
we produce more bananas. That's true wealth. Printing money is not true wealth. It's just printing money.
What about the other side of the coin? If you have, like, during pandemic, 70% drop in sales of
Yeah,
clothing, so you have to reduce the price of these clothing to get rid of them, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So this is the thing, right? Is this is the beauty of entrepreneurship. So um, once upon a time, there were a lot of horse-drawn carriages, right?
Yeah.
And there weren't cars, and so um, all those people who were raising horses and all the companies making buggy whips and horse-drawn carriages and all that stuff. What happened to them? Well, there were entrepreneurs, people who made car companies, right? For instance, right? And I think the amazing a part of our country, like I'm an entrepreneur, I did like 4 startups. Um, the amazing part of our country is entrepreneurship, especially out of Silicon Valley, right? It's created companies like you said, Salesforce, or created companies like Google or Facebook, companies that create incredible amount of wealth, right? A lot of value for our economy. And so what we want to do is we want to encourage more entrepreneurships. We want more people. Not everyone's going to make it, right? Not everyone's going to be, Mark Zuckerberg, right? But there's going to be a few that are going to make it. And so the analogy is like in Japan, they actually don't let companies die, right? So they have these companies that have been around for hundreds of years, right? And the analogy is like a forest. Imagine a forest where you have all these large dead trees standing, right? There's not space for the new trees, the little offsprings to come up, right?
Yeah.
To create
Yeah.
new companies, right? And
Yeah.
I think one thing in America that's been amazing is that there's this culture of entrepreneurship where, once upon a time, like Sun Microsystems or SGI, where, amazing companies, now they've been replaced by companies that you never heard of, 10, 20 years ago, right? And I think that's what we want. We encourage the creation. And this is something that's unique to our country. And most other countries don't have this culture of entrepreneurship, right? Of people starting companies where when there's this allocation of resources, like right now, like clothing, right? People aren't buying as much clothing right now, or there's a lot of misallocation of space right now because a lot of the retail space, a lot of the office space isn't being used. What happens is these entrepreneurs are coming in who will figure out what to do with the stuff, how to reallocate the stuff, and figure out the
Okay.
new
Yeah.
next big thing. And so I think this is what I want to encourage is entrepreneurship, so that these kind of misallocations, these dislocations of the economy are able to be solved. The entrepreneurs are very scrappy. A lot of them will not make it. A lot of them will fail, but there will be a few who make it and will create. Like I look at, like, for instance, Elon Musk, right? He basically, instead of throwing a rocket away every time you launch, you now keep the rocket, right? And so now the cost of going and sending a kilogram to space is way cheaper than ever before. And so it's like there's this wealth, this kind of value that's created in the economy by entrepreneurs like that, right? And that's what we want to do is we want to encourage more entrepreneurs to solve these kind of problems, right? Because we have, if you make it easy to start a company, you make it easy to, let's say if you fail, because most entrepreneurs are going to fail, but you make it easy to start again. This is how we recover in our economy. We don't recover from our economy by printing a bunch of money. That's usually not how. It's usually not going to solve it.
It might be like a band-aid for
A
temporary
band-aid.
situation. Yes.
Yeah.
And then after that, we gotta get people back to work and productive, like you said.
Yeah, we need to really start creating more bananas, right?
We need to
That's
put
the
people to work, people to
yes.
produce. And so I'm glad that I bought the 1 minute entrepreneur on Audible, but I didn't like the narrator. But maybe I'll just get the paperback so I don't have to listen to the narrator. But they did several 1 minute books, like 1 minute manager, 1 minute entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe entrepreneurship is our country's magic bullet. I think this has created so many amazing things,
So
right?
many jobs, yes, it
So
does.
many jobs, so many jobs, so much productivity in our country, and
Yeah,
despite
people
all
have
the
a lot of ideas, but they dismiss the idea because they say, oh, it's going to cost too much to even get into this.
well, I think actually, unlike other places, like you look at some places like in Europe, there's not as much entrepreneurship as there is here. I think in the United States, we are probably number one in
Yeah,
entrepreneurship, and I
number
think we want
one,
to,
for sure, for sure.
yeah,
We
and we
don't
want
have
to foster that.
we don't even have nearly like as many IPOs in Europe, because here it's like it's very normal to have 500 IPOs a year. In France is maybe five. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
very,
France
very
is tough, right? Because France, you know, I think
a lot of
so
red tape. Yeah.
red tape is it's the economy is very static, right? Because I think the thing is that like you have this pandemic that hits, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of things change. So
Yeah.
what do? Well, by having these entrepreneurs, they could figure out what to do, right?
But
They will try a bunch of different.
they put blocks in them. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
in France, it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult. So it's hard to start a company. It's hard to shut a company down.
A
If you
lot.
fail as an entrepreneur, it's pretty devastating,
Too
right?
many laws
So
that prevents it.
yes, and so
Because
what I want to,
if you start a company in France, then you have to give up your social benefits, or if you make too much money, they take most of it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
people say, why bother?
yeah, and that's true. That's not good because by not encouraging or by discouraging entrepreneurship, when there's these big dislocations in the economy like we had with the pandemic, you know, basically you can't recover, right? You're kind of not very optimal. But in our country, historically, we've had entrepreneurs that will, figure out how to handle
How to do
this
things?
locations,
Yes.
yeah, how to do things, right? And
Yeah,
so that's why,
I like the stimulus because, like Andrew Yang said, he said if you give people a stimulus, then they have
mm,
time to take care of their idea and not have to worry about paying expenses. So he is
mm,
for the stimulus once a month, for the universal payment, universal income, where
yeah,
everybody get at least 1,000 a
mm,
month so that they can work on their idea, they can work on their entrepreneurship without having to worry about food.
mm. Yeah,
They don't
to
have
me,
to
the most part,
accept any $5 job.
yeah, to me, the most important thing is to enable entrepreneurs. That's the most important thing, right? But enabling entrepreneurship, by making it easy to start companies, and most companies are going to fail, right? Most entrepreneurs are not going to make it.
But
But
just to give them a chance.
make it easy for them to start, make it easy for them to recover when they fail, right? I think that's what we want in our country, and that's why I'm running for U.S. Congress, is because I believe that this is the real solution.
When is the election in California?
It's in the primaries in June of
Oh, in June.
2022, and then for next year, next June, so about a year from now, and then the general election is in November.
Oh, okay, okay. Because June 22nd is the election of the mayor of New York. But I think Andrew Yang is way ahead of everybody in the polls, so he's going to be the next mayor.
Hmm.
So
It's very possible.
he's bringing a lot of fresh ideas. He's not going to go back to look at what was done previously.
Hmm.
He just want to start like on a clean slate
Yeah,
and bring in new ideas, totally, totally new. So yeah, that would be really, really refreshing for New York and maybe a good model for the rest of the country. But
yeah,
anyway,
maybe.
so I know we spoke about different things, but Percolata is your baby, is your idea,
Yep.
and is gonna turn what's your forecast for the next year for Percolata? Is gonna
Well,
be
we'll
good?
have to see what happens to, you know, as the economy starts opening back up. We'll have to see how much of the retail comes back, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you
So
know, I think
how do you reach these people in the retail? You call them?
yeah, so it's all really enterprise sales. So it's a lot of outreach to them.
Oh, it's
So
outreach. Okay.
yeah, so it's very much a enterprise sales type of model. So you find out who are the decision makers on LinkedIn. You reach out to them. You try to get initial conversation. You know, you pitch them. You maybe do some sort of pilot, and then you go to production. So that's basically how it works.
Okay. You analyze how many employees they have and see if they can
Mhm.
optimize
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a good idea to reduce, payroll. That's important for
Well,
most
it's
people.
not just reducing payroll, but it's also increasing sales because if you don't have enough people for the traffic coming in, you lose sales. So you lose
Oh,
revenue.
that's true. That's true. I noticed that about
Yeah.
myself. I hate to wait. When I see I have to wait a
Yes,
long time, I leave.
yes, yes, yes. A lot of people
Even
do
in a
actually.
coffee shop, if I see the line too long, I go to the next coffee shop.
Yes, yes. So think about all the lost business because of that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a very good point because I'm one of the most impatient person you can
Most people
imagine.
are. It's very, very common.
Oh, really? When there's a long line, they just go.
It's something like 7 out of 10 people. Like retailers will lose 7 out of 10 people because they don't have sufficient staffing.
Exactly, exactly. I agree with that part. When it's busy, it's very annoying. You just move out and go to the next store. So anyway, it was a pleasure to discuss. To talk to you about percolata and other
Sure,
topics. And yeah, I wish you good luck with the run for Congress. I'm
appreciate
sure
it.
you'll get some backing from all the entrepreneur in Palo Alto because that's the city where you have the most entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, historically, yes.
Because you have all these tech how do you call it, incubators,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
venture capitalists. Yeah. Mhm.
yes, so you have a good support system for them actually in Palo Alto.
Yeah, that's
Good.
why we have entrepreneurs here is because there's that infrastructure around them, right?
You support them with giving them office space and
I would
for,
like to do that actually. I think that's what we think we should do. We have all this office space. Maybe we should make those into incubators, right? But
yeah, yeah.
the problem is a lot of companies now are like, especially tech companies are like, we don't need office space anymore. So it's a question. It is still a question of what do we do with all the office space and retail
Give it
space?
to the new upcoming entrepreneur out of Stanford.
But a
But
lot of them would rather just work from their dorm or from home. So that's kind
yeah.
of the problem is like
Oh yeah.
even if you
No,
give
but
them, they're like, what?
but if the city can't fund maybe a few who would like to have a little office, let's say
Mm.
they have kids yelling and screaming at home, they
Oh,
do appreciate a
yeah,
quiet spot to go maybe a couple
that's
hours
true.
a week, a
That's
couple
true.
hours a day or more. So
It's a
it
good
depends
idea.
on the living situation at home.
Sure.
If you're single and alone, it's fine. But if you have kids around, it's impossible to
Yeah, it's very
concentrate.
hard.
It's very hard. So anyway, I'm glad you get yourself a nice space there. So now you're gonna reopen on Tuesday those spaces.
Um, well, I mean, for us, it's really about a lot of our employees work remotely at this point, and we're going to allow them to work remotely. So
So that space will be pretty much stay the same.
the same question. Like, what do you do with all the office space? That's a big question.
You can sublease by a desk. When people used to lease a desk
But
for.
but a lot of people don't need office space now, right? A lot of people just do Zoom, so that's the issue,
Oh,
right?
they do Zoom like me. Yeah,
Yes.
our studio reopened, but I didn't go to the studio yet, even though it's
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're in Palo Alto, right? And I tell you to come to San Francisco for the interview. It's a
Yeah.
hassle for
Yeah.
some people to
It
drive
is.
from Palo Alto to the studio and then
Yeah.
having to go back home. That's a half a day, you know, logistics for them.
Yeah.
So right now with Zoom, you can do it in the comfort of your office and it saves you a lot of time and it saves
That's
me.
right. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So
So,
God bless
well,
Zoom then.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So that's something we'll have to see how things change, right?
Yeah, we'll see. And then you'll decide what to do with all that empty space, right?
That's right. Exactly. I mean, I think everyone has that same question. What do you do with all that space?
Yeah,
I think that's the
because
next
you
great.
lease this, right? You have a lease there.
Yeah. So it's like the big question for everyone. I think this is the next great startup idea is what to do with all the empty office space and retail space. What do you do with it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I know that now only like the upper echelon executive go for board meetings at the office. Other than
Yeah.
that, they go back home.
Yeah. So like so much of our country is built around retail and office space, and suddenly, if you don't have it, you don't really need to use it. What do you do with it?
Yeah.
Which should we do? What should be done with it?
I think the person who I did during the meetup of Rob Law, I suggested we turn this into housing for the homeless, but everybody
Mm,
said no, 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 because nobody in their right mind would let homeless in clean offices and stuff like that. It just doesn't match kind of
mm,
their standard of living, cleanliness toward a clean office space. It's like, ooh, there's no match there. Even though the idea is like good,
mm,
but to transform a beautiful office into a homeless shelter, that doesn't cut it.
mm,
Unless you rebuild something
mm,
more appropriate for them or in that space.
mm.
So it's I spoke to a couple people at the meetup about it, but it's a lot of planning. It doesn't just happen overnight saying, oh, we're opening our doors to the homeless. It doesn't work that way.
Sure, sure.
It just
Yeah,
takes
no.
a lot of work.
But
So anyway,
keep thinking about ideas like that because um, I think we have to figure out what to do with the space, right? It can't stay empty forever.
yeah, or else it's gonna stay empty and it's gonna keep all these empty streets and those all these streets full of skyscrapers. They're empty now because nobody
Yeah,
walk in those streets anymore.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like a ghost town. Um, and maybe it will get a little bit busy starting Tuesday, but not like maybe 20% more busy. All the
Mm,
businesses around it, like the food stores around it, I don't think they're gonna reopen because it doesn't make sense to them to be open to feed maybe only 20% of their actual business.
yeah,
And anyway, so thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very
of
busy
course.
man, and I know your secretary has been very gracious to schedule that for us. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay, bye bye.